Hello friends, today I'll discuss one very basic Rust concept which deals with enum type and struct. So I've defined an enum type of color which contain three variants: red, green and blue, and I'm about to define a struct hex, but my intention is to define the attribute as a little bit dynamically. So the field name I want to provide color red and I want to have some value, so that if I want to access the hex and the red color, then I can able to store its X value. But this kind of dynamic assignment between struct and enum type is not possible by default. So for example, if I want to access using this kind of structure, if I uncomment this code, it will complain. This is a syntax error. And my intention is to access, let's say I define a color dictionary and I set some values like initialize a particular struct type or struct instance. Then I want to pass this enum type like red, green and blue. By using this square bracket syntax, I want to print this hex value. So today I'm going to explain one approach how we can solve this particular use case. By default, this kind of runtime variant checking is not possible, but I'll try to suggest or explain one approach which can be commonly used. So for that, inside our hex struct, we can define three different attributes which match with this enum color. Even though I don't like this approach, it is not very elegant. If you know a better approach, you can suggest in the comment below. But we have to define like three different attributes two times. Like here also red, green, blue and red, green, blue. But still, if you can't access using color dictionary, because this is a enum type. For that, because our hex type contains three values now, so we can initialize like our structure like with hex data, like red, green and blue with its corresponding hex value. So this is a proper way to define a particular struct with its field name and its data type. But still, how I can access like by passing a color red enum variant to this struct. So for that, we need to implement a trait. That trait name known as index. That is part of standard library. So once we are able to import that and do some slight transformation, then we can able to access from this hex structure or hex instance by passing this enum type. Let's see how we can do that. So first and foremost, we need to import or use index trait. So this is part of core, Rust core, and which provide this particular indexing operation. For it is making to work, we have to provide an implementation impl index trait. So in this case, we can pass this our enum type, which can be act as an index, and for struct, and this output type would be the corresponding value what we are going to return. And in this to implement this index trait, we have one function known as index, which will take this self reference. This immutable reference is pointing to this hex instance. Wherever we define this color dictionary, right, that will refer to this. And the index color is what do we pass is a square bracket. This is a square bracket. We are going to pass this particular corresponding enum type. So we do a simple pattern matching with this enum index. If it is red, we access this red value. If it is green, we access this green value. If it is blue, we access corresponding blue value. So basically we are doing some kind of mapping between this enum type and this actually attribute. So this attribute will be hidden, and so which can be accessed using this enum type. So it would be more strictly type matching. So this is one pattern you can use if you prefer to combine the struct as well as enum. Let's see if I try to execute this code. I can do cargo run. I've kept this particular RS file under the examples directory. So you could run using any example with example option. So if you see over here, the hex value override is the corresponding value. If you want to pass as blue or some different enum type, so this is a good benefit. So we can get it auto completion, and we can use for various enum wherever we feel appropriate. Hex value override is this particular, so I didn't change this blue, but you got the idea. And these are some warnings because I am not using all the variants of this particular enum. So you can see some squiggly line, you can ignore that. So just to summarize, we have defined an enum of color which have 3 variants, and the same fields we have to create as an attribute. In this case it is a lowercase we have given. So you can use some different name, but just to follow the convention we have to use the same type. And this is the actual value what we are going to store. And we have to implement this index trait. In this case we will pass this enum type, and this is the right hand side is the struct where we want to implement the trait. And we have to provide the implementation of index function, which will take as the immutable reference of hex, and second argument is that index enum. And we will do the pattern matching of index, and if it is red, green, blue, we can extract that corresponding value and pass it across. Here also if you see, we are returning a reference to it. And once we do that, we can instantiate a particular struct type by providing this concrete value, and we can access using the struct instance with square bracket notation and a proper enum type. So hope you learned something today. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye.